Whereas you wish, when merchandise of yours is bought or sold, that I do gladly grant great gain and help in every circumstance. And as you wish, your wealth and every plan be well advanced at home and overseas, and henceforth grow your gains, both good and great, the things you've done, those you plan to do. And as you wish, I bring to you and yours good news for all, what I provide and tell, what will be best for your collective wealth. For you, of course, know it was fixed by all the gods that I'm in charge of news and gain. And as you wish, I bless, get gain for you, that it will be there always through the year. Then see you keep your silence for this play, and also be judges just and fair. At whose behest I'm here, and why I've come, I'll tell you now. And also, what's my name? It's Jove's behest. My name's Mercurius. Dad sent me here to make my case with you. Although his order to you shows he knew what you would do, and since he understood you feared and worshipped him as Jove deserves, in fact, he really ordered me to seek this favor from you gently, with nice words. And so in peace I come, and peace I bring. A fair and easy gift I ask of you, for fair things from the fair are fair to seek, and unfair from the fair would not be right, and seeking fair from unfair's foolishness, since those unjust don't know or care what's fair. Now, turn your minds this way to what I say. I'll first announce what I came here to ask. Then I'll describe this tragedy's events. What's that? You squint your brow, since tragedy is what's to come. I'll change it. I'm a god. This same play from a tragedy, I'll make a comedy, with every verse the same. Do you want this or not? But I'm a dope, as if a god I don't know your wants. I'll gather what your souls do wish to see. I'll mix it up. A tragic comedy. For me to make it comedy alone would not be right when gods come on and kings. What then? Since one role is also a slave, I'll make it tragicomic, as I said. Now, Jupiter sent me to ask you this, that every single seat inquisitors should go throughout the audience's coop, and if they spot some cheerers who've been comped, they'll take their cloaks in trust from those cooped up. If any think our actors were the prize, or any of our team, or written script, or nominates himself, or has it done, or sponsors even falsely give a prize, then Jupiter's decreed the same law goes as if he'd picked himself a public post. He said you went as winners with your worth, and not with fraud or whinging. Why should law treat actors any less than the elect? One ought to win by worth and not applause. They always get applause if they do things right. If those whose hands in which this lies are true. He even also bade me bid you this. For actors, there should be inquisitors. If those they've comped and told to clap for them or make another please less than they should, that they should flay their costume and their hide. Now, I don't want you surprised why Jupiter now cares for actors. Do not be surprised. By Jove, he'll act this comedy himself. What's that? You wonder if the news now's new. Has Jupiter become an actor too? Why, just last year when actors on this stage called, "Oh my God," he came and gave them help. And he has played in tragedies before. I say today, will Jove perform this play himself, and I with him. Now listen up while I describe the comic plot to you. This city, Thebes. Within those doors does live Amphitruo from Argos, like his dad. Alcmena's his wife, Electra's girl. Amphitruo now leads the legion here, for war arose in Telebos with Thebes. Before he left Here, for his troops, did he knock up his wife, Alcmena himself. Now, I trust you know now what my dad is like, how free he is in matters of this kind, how great a lover when his fancy's seized. He starts a secret lust. Alcmena, he took her body for himself to use. In his embrace, he made her pregnant too. Now, of Alcmena, remember this, she's pregnant from them both man and Jove. My dad, now inside here, doth lie with her, and for their sake, the night is lengthened out, while he with her takes what delight he wants. But he's disguised like he's Amphitruo. Oh, now, do not wonder at my costume here, because I come in slavish get-up so. Old and ancient stuff, I bring you new, so I've become costumed in a novel style. Look, Jupiter, my dad, is inside now. He turned into Amphitruonic form. And all the slaves who see him trust he's him. He shapeshifts. Thus, whenever he should wish, I took the shape of Sosia, the slave who with Amphitruo left for the troops, so I could help my dad pursue his lust. Though household slaves won't ask me who I am when at the house they see me loitering. Now, since they trust I am their fellow slave, none asks who I may be or why I've come. My dad now gratifies his will inside. He lies entwined with her he most desires. My dad relates his battle deeds to her, Alcmena. She trusts he is her man, though she is with the lech. My dad, in there, relates how foreign legions fled from him, and by what means were many gifts bestowed, the gifts Amphitruo had won out there. We swiped with ease. My dad does what he wants. Today, Amphitruo comes home from war, and also does the slave whose form I take. Now, so that you can tell us all apart, I'll always have this feather in my hat, and there will be a small gold band in Dad's. This token won't be on Amphitruo's. These tokens no one of the household here can yet perceive, but you perceive them plain. But here's Amphitruo's slave, Sosia. He comes here from the port with lantern now. I'll drive him from these doors as he arrives. Stay here. It'll be worth your while to watch Mercurius and Jove be actors here.
Hi, welcome to Reading Greek Tragedy Online. I'm Joel Christensen from Brandeis University, coming to you today from Brunswick, Maine, and I'm here with the Center for Hellenic Studies, the Cosmos Society, Out of Chaos Theater, and our special guest, Toph Marshall, who's bringing us this brand new translation of Plautus's Amphitruo, and who also is here today to join us in the sort of celebration. So Toph, if you'll unmute and join me. So, since we first started talking about Reading Greek Tragedy Online, I've been hassling Paul about this play because I think it's one of the funniest things from antiquity. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of the performance structure of this play, how ancient audiences might have seen it? Because I don't think they were sitting in front of a computer.
They weren't. And I'm going to say a lot of this is guesswork. We really don't have a clear sense for this particular play. But we do know that in the first half of the 2nd century BCE in Rome, immediately after the Second Punic War, drama was really flourishing. And there were multiple ludi games over the course of the calendar year at which plays could be presented. And Plautus and Terence were writing comedies. Ennius is writing tragedies at this time. And we happen to have these 26 comedies from 2nd century BC Rome. This one is unlike all the rest. All the others are domestic comedies. They're purporting to be translations of a Greek play like that by Menander. This one, though, is a mythological comedy, and we don't have parallels for it. We don't know exactly what's going on. I have theories that maybe Plautus's troupe was traveling down to South Italy and was using Greek theaters for this, and this is what they were putting on when they were in the Greek-speaking world down south. But it's completely different than the rest of his plays. It only has one door, it needs a roof, so even the stage is different than what we think the Roman stage in the Forum would have been.
So you're saying that I'm excited about the play that's different from everything else.
Absolutely.
Right?
And
so it's typically me being the weirdo. But I mean, the play is filled with lots of lively language, with play. And I mean, so far this translation, like it's flowing really well. Like, I think Paul's doing a great job there as Mercurius. But what sort of compelled you, besides me wanting this to happen, to take on the task of translating this play?
Well, honestly, I don't think there's enough translations of Roman comedy out there, and getting plays that are outside the sort of standard handful for an inexpensive available inexpensively is something that's not easy. Usually in a drama and translation class, there might only be time for one or two comedies in any case. I would like students not to have to fork out 30 or 40 bucks in order to do that. And I'd like them to be able to read a translation that's fresh and feels current. And so I've done this play. I'm working on another right now, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to publish it with someone who wants to make it available to with little profit to themselves.
Well, and beyond that, and this being such an interesting play in the history of Roman comedy and theater, it seems to me like an actor's or director's dream, because you have two Jupiters, you have two Socias, and you have all this weird language play with doubling. So what has been your experience of staging this play and engaging with it?
Well, I had the good fortune to be able to direct it about 18 months ago, and audiences really responded well to it. It's a fun play, and very little is required of the audience beforehand. It's all sort of set up, and the comic situation sort of speaks for itself. There's two identical pairs. There's Amphitruo and Jupiter, who's disguising himself as Amphitruo. There's Socia, his slave, and Mercurius, who's disguising himself as his slave. So we've got two pairs of twins doing master-servant things, and poor Alcumena stuck in the middle, thinking that the best sex she's had in years is with her husband, when in fact it's with a god. And so she is in this terrible situation of being an unknowing and unwilling adulteress. And so there's pathos for her, there's ridiculous situations, and the play is built so that each of the twins has a scene with each of the other ones. So we see Mercurius and Jupiter together, we see Mercurius and Amphitruo together, we see Jupiter with Socia and Jupiter with Mercurius, and so we get all the different permutations. It's Plautus is really sort of exploiting the comic potential of two sets of twins.
And it's going to be interesting to see how we handle that live here. So maybe harkening back to the Parent Trap or something like that. All right.
Exactly.
So we're going to go straight back to the action now. And Toph, I'll see you again soon.
Okay.
New cloak. That I'll go tell Alcmena what it is my boss has ordered. Who's this guy I see this night before the doors? I like it not. No one is as cowardly as this guy. Now I see that this guy is looming, wants to weave me a new cloak. That he'll warp my woof. afraid. I'll go and trick him. I'm dead. Teeth all shiver. When I get there, he will greet me to a pounder's welcome fist. Maybe he's kind-hearted. Now, due to the fact my boss has made me keep the night watch with his fists today, he'll see I go to sleep. I'm dead. I beg you, please, by Herc. How big and strong he is. Loudly, I will speak in answer, so he hears what I will say. That way, to a fuller factor, he will start to feel fear. Come now, fists. It's been a while since you have got my paunch a meal. Oh, it feels so long since yesterday when you beat up, knocked out 4 men, left them naked in the street. Oh, completely terrified that I'll change my name and turn from Socia to number 5. I have caught the scent of someone. Oops. Have I begun to stink? Even though he's greatly distant, truly he is close at hand. This guy's a prognosticator, and my fists bite zealously. I am worried, wholly numb. Where on earth I am by Pollux, I don't know if someone asks. Wretched me, I cannot budge because of chicken-heartedness. All is done. My boss's bidding dies, along with Socia. Really, I'm resolved to reckon roughly face to face with him, so that I will seem a tough guy, and he keep his hand from me. Slave or free? Whichever one my spirit happens to prefer. May I know where you are headed, where you're from, and who you are? I go here, at boss's bidding. I'm his slave. Is that now clearer? What's your business at these doors? I'd ask the same of you. Good King Creon always sets out single sentries for the night. He does well. Since we've been absent, everything's been safe at home. Now, begone, let it be known, the household slave is home again. Here's your house. I say it is. Who then is the boss of you? He's the leader of the Theban legions now, Amphitruo, he who wed Alcmena. Listen up. What's your name? Well, Thebans call me Socia, begotten of my father, Dave. You came here all by yourself with your fabricated fibs, paragon of pride. Today, with your stitched together schemes. Well, I came here with just my tunic, not with stitched together schemes. You are lying. You have come here with your feet and not your tunic. Well, really true. So now, really, you'll be beaten for your lies. Oh! Please, I beg you, do you dare to give your name as Socia? Since I'm he, I'm dead. Still more, you say, compared with what's to come. Oh! Who's your master? Oh, you are, since with your fists, you use me up. Help me, Theban citizens! Oh! Still you shout, you hangman's helper. Tell me why you've come. Oh! It's so that there's someone you can punch to death. Whose are you? Amphitruo's Socia I am. Then you'll be beaten more, since you're a poser. I am Socia, not you. May the gods grant that you could be, so that I can beat on you. Still you mumble? I'll be quiet. Who's your boss? I do not care. What then? What are you now called? Nothing. Only what you say. You said you're Amphitruo's Socia. Well, I was wrong. I should have said myself to be Amphitruo's associate. Please, just let me speak to you peacefully and not be beaten. No? But there can be a passing truce if you should wish to speak. I won't speak unless there's peace, since you are stronger with your fists. Speak your mind. I will not hurt you. Pay attention. Now that I can say what I should wish to freely. I am Socia the slave, Amphitruos. What? This again? Hey, I've made peace. I've made a treaty. I speak truth. Now, get a beating. Oh, as you like. Do what you like, since you are stronger with your fist, but by Herc, no matter what you mean to do, I won't keep quiet. This man is not sane. The fault you say I have is what is yours. Damn it. Am I not a slave, Amphitruo's own Socia? Did our ship not just this night from the port of Persicus arrive, and did it bring me here? And did my boss not send me here? Don't I stand before our doors with a lantern in my hand? Don't I speak? Am I awake? Did he not just hit me with fists? Look, he did. For even now, my jaws are sore. Oh, woe is me. Why then do I hesitate? Why not enter in our house? This is your house. It is indeed. All you've said in truth just now are lies, for I am Socia, he who is Amphitruos. For this night our ship had sailed from the port of Persicus, and we laid siege to the town where the king Torella ruled. And we captured Teleboan legions with our battle force, and Amphitruo himself fought and killed King Torella. I do not believe myself when I hear him say these things. Things that happened there for certain, he remembers memorably. Tell me what the Teleboans gave then to Amphitruo. Torella, the king. He liked to guzzle from a golden cup. He said it right. And where's the cup gone now? It's in a little chest with Amphitruo's seal sealed. He has won with evidence. I must find another name.
Take good care, Alchemina, as always, of our shared concern. Please be careful, for you see the months for you are coming due. I must leave, but when it's time, be sure the child is registered.
Husband, what's this business why you go away so suddenly from home?
It's surely not, by Paul, because I'm bored with you at home. When the topmost general is not present with his troops, what should not take place occurs more quickly than what should take place.
He's a very charming cheater, and he also is my dad. Check him out, how pleasantly he soothes the woman with his words.
I've by Castor come to know how highly you esteem your wife.
Is it not enough that there's no woman that I love as much?
I'd prefer to come to know than be reminded of your love. You depart before the bed where you had slept and has gotten cold. You came yesterday at midnight. Now you go? Is that what you want?
I'll approach and call to her and play the sycophant to Dad. I believe, by Paul, no mortal man has ever loved his wife, struck with love as much as this guy died for you, struck with love.
Shame its helper, don't I know you? Won't you go far from my sight? What concern of this is yours, you whipping post? Don't breathe a word. Now this walking stick of mine will...
Oh, don't!
Don't breathe a word.
My first try at sycophancy almost ended in disaster.
That's for what you said, my wife. You shouldn't be upset at me. Secretly, I slipped away. I left my legion tasks for you so that you could learn this from me, how I saved the public good. I related everything to you. Unless I love you most, I'd not do so.
It's as I said. Thus he soothes her shrinking self.
So the troops don't lack their orders. Secretly, I'll head back there so they will not say I hold my wife above my state affairs.
After your departure, you will make your wife lament.
Do not spoil your eye. I'll come back quick.
Quickly is far away.
I don't go away from here or leave you willingly.
I know, for you leave the very night you came to me.
Oh, why hold me so? It is time. I wish to leave the town before it starts to dawn. Now, to you, this cup that was bestowed on me for honor's sake, from which drank King Perella, a man I killed with my own hand, I give to Alchemina.
You do as you always do. Castor, what a precious prize. Just like who presents the prize.
Not at all a precious prize, just like she who's given it.
Are you still here? You fit to be hanged. Can I not get rid of you?
No, Amphitruo, I beg you, do not blame Sosa for me.
I'll do as you wish.
It's love that makes him act so savagely.
Nothing else?
Come, Amphitruo, it's light.
Go ahead now, Sosia. I will follow. Nothing else?
Just come back quickly.
Very well. I'll be back before you even know I'm gone. Now have good cheer. You have waited for me, knight. I bid you yield today, so that with light clear and pure he'll illuminate mankind. Night, as much as you were longer than the night we had before, so much shorter will I make this day be, just to balance out. Go, let day appear from night. I'll pursue Mercurius.
So Jupiter and Mercurius leave the stage, and we're left with like what's really an odd moment. Toph, when I talk about this myth with students, or at least when I used to talk about it, I focused on the double birth of Iphicles and Heracles, and I used to use the joke of Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger in twins. But nobody knows that joke anymore. I guess I got old fast with the rest of us. But when I think about like the choice of this scene in this moment and in the story, the whole range of stories associated with Heracles or Hercules, since this is a Roman play, it's quite the odd one, right? For a couple of reasons. One, like Zeus is hanging around, like having like a prolonged relationship with someone, which is not like what's normal. And second, it seems like we have a pregnant Alcmena on stage, right? She's in her 9th month. They're like, it's just about time now. And Zeus is like, what, a doting husband here? So what do you make of this?
It's an amazing characterization, both of Jupiter and of Alcmena. She's 9 months pregnant with twins, one of whom's going to be, the most powerful person on earth. So, we don't want to imagine what the first trimester was like for her, but I think that we've got she's set up as a sex symbol, and she's set up as a wife who is excited about and interested in sex with her husband. This is a very unusual image that we get of a woman either in myth or in the Greco-Roman world, and yet it's still faithful. She's a good wife in spite of or because of her interest in sex, but it throws off all expectations that we have of what a stock character might be, and whether go.
So are we supposed to understand that she was always of such a good character, or is it Zeus's particular love that inspires this?
No, I think she's perfect. I think we're swooning for her, and it's amazing that we get to care for a woman who's 9 months pregnant. Even in our society today, we don't. We we stand back from extreme pregnancy. There's, it's sometimes a challenge for pregnant women to be treated as regular people. Pregnant women are, people come up to them on the bus and they touch their bellies without asking. They start losing this being human. And yet here we have Plautus presenting us a story that seems to be different from other Amphitruo stories that we have from the ancient world. We know that there were others. And Plautus certainly wants us to be thinking of Euripides's versions of Alcmene. We've got this comedy from the 4th century from the Greek world by Plato Comicus, the funny one, not the philosopher, called The Long Night, that is probably this story as well. But Amphitruo impregnates Alcmena. After he's gone, Jupiter comes along and re-impregnates her. That's not the way biology works, but it is funny. And
it's almost like a daytime talk show special, right?
Exactly. Where's Maury Povich when you need him?
Right. Do we know enough about performance traditions here to know if men were playing this 9-month pregnant figure, or if it were a woman?
Yeah. No, absolutely. It would have been masked. It would have been male actors in all of them. Funnily enough, there's another play by Plautus called Curculio, in which one of the actors, the actor who's playing the character of the pimp Cappadox, complains about having twin sons jumping inside his gut with gastrointestinal problems. And I think it's the same actor. And there was just let's say a heavy-set actor who had been Amphitruo, or had been Alcmena in Amphitruo, and now is playing Cappadox the pimp.
And did you want to share an image? Do you want me to show the image
if you can, that'd be great. Yeah.
I think I have gained that power. So let's see if we can look at it, and you can tell us what we're looking at.
Sure. So here's a very famous vase from 4th century South Italy, which is showing us Jupiter and Mercurius in a stage comic costume. So they're both naked. They're both wearing padded bodysuits, using a ladder to climb up to Alcmena's window here. This is not the story that Plautus is telling. Plautus doesn't need to go in through the window because he's got Jupiter disguised as Amphitruo. But I'll say this is probably an innovation in the story compared to the way it had been told before. And Plautus is introducing twins because twins are funny.
And we've got clear markers of Hermes here with the staff and the hat. It looks just like Paul.
Exactly. Right? And the little crown on Jupiter's head there is...
Right. And it almost looks like he can't get his head out of that ladder. Right?
Exactly.
So, one of the amazing things about this play, I mean, when we move from, say, sort of classic old comedy to new comedy and Menander, and then to these performances, it seems a lot more, let's say, modern in the sense that, post Shakespeare to Moliere, this sort of like clever slave and doubling motif just gets really common. So what do we know about sort of the history of reception and influence of this play and plays like it?
This play has been so instrumental in the development of European drama, basically from the 15th century on. In the late 1920s, Jean Giraudoux did a adaptation of this story and called it Amphitryon 38, because he sort of facetiously figured that there had been 37 predecessors, of which Plautus was number one. We know, I think Shakespeare's Comedy of Errors is a nice one to think through with this, though, because we know that Comedy of Errors is an adaptation of a play by Plautus. It's an adaptation of the Brothers Menaechmus. But Shakespeare, in adapting it, also looked at this play and saw the two sets of twins and saw the comic potential inherent in that. And if you know Comedy of Errors, without the Dromio figure, it's not as great a play. The doubled servant is really crucial to how that play generates its humor, and that's something that wasn't in Menaechmi but is in here. So it's like Shakespeare took the idea from Amphitruo and sort of cut it out of that play and stitched it into his adaptation of the Brothers Menechmus. When Terence did that, they called it Contaminatio, but it's a really good example for how Contaminatio works.
Yeah, and if you believe Terence, everyone's always criticizing his work and never enjoying it, right?
Exactly.
But I think that's part of his comic motif. So one of the things, so I remember reading this in undergrad, I think, and what happens a lot is, them shouting Werbero at each other, right? I'll beat you. And so I think in the editing we had there, it was a lot of fun. But when it was performed, it was masked with his bodysuits. How much of the big sort of Three Stooges sort of physical humor do you envision there being?
Well, I'm going to say this is something that I've really struggled with because hitting other human beings isn't as funny now as it used to be. And we're aware that this is, a sexist slaveholding society, that the actors themselves may have been a mixture of enslaved and non-enslaved people, but enslaved and slaveholders as well. Do we imagine that the slaves being beaten are always being played by enslaved actors? I'm going to say I'm not. I think some of the choice roles being taken by the free people or the unenslaved people are the enslaved characters. And so we could actually have a situation on stage where an enslaved actor playing a free person is beating a enslaved character being played by a free person, which would, to what extent the audience was aware of that, I don't know, but we do certainly see lots of places where plotists might be undermining that master-slave dynamic. There's a lot of jokes about hanging up slaves on the cross or going off to hang oneself or to beat enslaved people for not doing basic elementary chores. And it's a challenge for modern actors trying to find a way through into a world where this is not only acceptable but expected and accepted by the enslaved characters. And so seeing the power grab by Sosia and the desire for authority and the challenge to the hierarchies that the lowest status character in the entire play, Sosia, is able to summon can be quite exciting. But whether it was done, as you say, Three Stooges like, or whether it was played seriously with Mercurius actually hitting Sosia and making it look like a genuine beating as he is beating Sosia's name out of him. There's trauma there, and
it can move from humorous to hurtful pretty quickly, right? And that cruelness.
And I think recognizing that is important. If you've got the dark moments, then the playful and joyful ones can come through more clearly.
So moving towards the next scene, what are some sort of key things you look for or you really value about the following parts of the play?
I think there's very little that's a surprise to the audience in terms of what's going to happen. We all know that eventually Hercules is going to be born. Iphicles really isn't a big deal in this story. He's sort of written off in a single line, but but seeing it all play out, seeing Alcumena's lack of recognition of her husband transform into an acceptance of the situation, and Amphitruo's sort of creepy acceptance of, hey, I got to share a woman with Jupiter. That makes me a little bit better. I think that the men don't come off well, let's say, but I've got a real soft spot for Alcumena.
All right, and so we'll go back to, I guess, the real Amphitruo entering the scene in Plautus's play.
I believe when I come home, I'll be quite welcome with my wife. I love her. She loves me back. Above all, with these deeds done well, rivals are defeated. Those who no one thought that they could be conquered. I was leading and in charge. We conquered them when first we met. She, awaiting my arrival, yearned for me, I am sure.
What? You don't suppose my girl's not waiting my arrival too?
Here's my husband.
Follow me this way.
Why does he come back when he just said he was rushed? Perhaps he's testing me on purpose and he wants to learn how much I yearn for him when he's away. I'm not adverse, by Castor, to receive him back again.
We had best, Amphitruo, go back to the ship.
How come?
Since at home, no one will give some lunch to us when we arrive.
Why is this now on your thoughts?
Well, since we've got here far too late.
Why?
Because Alcumina, I see her by the door. She's stuffed.
When I went away, I left her pregnant here.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm dead.
What is wrong with you?
I've come home in time to fetch her water. If I reckon numbers right, it'll be her 9th month.
So be glad.
You know how glad I am? When I pick up a bucket, you, by Paul, will never trust me if I vow it after this, if I do not drain that well of all its breath once I begin.
Follow me this way. I'll pick another for this task. No fear.
Now I'll show my proper duty if I went to him. I think.
Happily, Amphitruo greets his so long longed for wife of the Theban women all. Her husband judges her the best. Citizens of Thebes all rumor her to be so virtuous. Are you healthy? Are you sure? Thrilled I'm back.
I never saw her thrilled so much. She greets him barely more than when she greets the dog.
It's wonderful to see you so pregnant and so full of beauty.
Castor, for what reason do you tease me so, I beg of you, when you greet me and meet me thus, as if you hadn't just seen me now, just like you're back at home from the foe for the first time? And you greet me as just as if you hadn't seen me in so long.
I have not seen you anywhere on Earth today except just now.
Why didn't I?
I'm taught to speak the truth.
It's not fair to unteach what's been taught. Do you examine what my disposition is? But why do you come back so soon? Were you stopped by the horoscopes? Did weather hold you back? Did you not go to the legions just as you said you would just now?
When was this just now?
You tease. Just now means recently.
This one. She speaks balderdash.
Well, just wait for just a little while she's sleeping off her sleep.
Does she sleep while wide awake?
I'm awake, by Castor, and awake I'm saying what took place. For just now, before first light, I saw this one and you.
But where?
Where you live inside these doors?
Never happened.
Hush a sec. Maybe, while we slept, the ship brought us from the port to here.
You are also on her side?
What do you desire be done? Don't you know if you desire to go against a crazy cultist, not just nuts, but nutsier she'll go and hit you all the more. If you listen, she will settle for one punch.
Oh, it's certain I will scold her since she didn't want to greet me when I came back home today.
You will stir up a hornet's nest.
Be quiet, you. Look, Amina, I would like to ask you one thing.
Ask away.
Does absurdity approach or overweening overcome?
How does it occur to you to cross-examine me, my husband?
Well, since before this, you would always greet me when I came back home, speak to me exactly like modest women greet their husbands. Coming home, I find that you have lost that custom which you had.
When you came home yesterday, I surely greeted you by Castor, welcomed you, and at the same time asked if you were well as well. I then took your hand, my husband, and I offered you a kiss.
Yesterday, you welcomed it.
And you also, Sosia.
I had hoped, Amphitruo, that she would bear to you a son. She's not pregnant with a son,
What then?
with insanity.
I'm sane, of course, and beg the gods I bear a healthy son. You will get a big bad beating if he does what duty asks.
Yesterday, you saw me here,
I say, I did 10 times, I say.
sleeping, maybe?
No, awake, while wide awake.
Oh, what a fate.
What's wrong?
My wife's gone mad.
Ah, I'm messed up with this bile. Nothing forces people to be quite so mad and quite so quick.
Woman, when did you first feel that these things were infecting you?
I am sane and sound by Castor.
Therefore, why do you insist that you saw me yesterday when we came to port this night? There I dined, and there I slept through the night within the ship. I've not placed my foot within these doors since when I first set out with my army, where we won against the Talopian foe.
No, in truth, you dined with me and slept with me as well.
What?
I speak truth.
Oh, this by Earth you don't. On other things, who knows?
At the break of day, you left back to your legions.
So,
She speaks right as she remembers. She's telling you her dream. Now that you woke up, though, woman, you should pray to Jove today, he that turns away bad omens, with salted grains or frankincense.
Damn
Your
your
head.
head.
So yours will be if you don't tread carefully.
He insults me yet again, and without him being beaten.
quiet, you. And now you speak. I left from here, from you at dawn.
Who, except for you, could tell me how the battle went for you?
You know this?
Of course. I heard it from you, how you sacked that mighty town and how you yourself had killed a king named Truella.
I said this?
Yes, you yourself. And Socio was standing by.
Well, you heard me say this to you today.
Where else would I have heard it?
Ask her.
What I know is this did not take place with me nearby.
No surprise he doesn't cross you.
Socia, come, look at me.
I see.
I wish to tell truths. Do not simply side with me. Did you hear me say to her those things she said I said today?
Please, by Pollux, are you also crazy when you ask me this? I myself see her just now for the first time, same as you.
What now, woman? Do you hear him?
I do hear him tell a lie.
You believe not him nor me, your husband?
This is so since I believe myself the most, and I know things as are as I said.
You say I came yesterday.
And you deny you left today?
I deny it fully, and I say I've come home now to you.
Do you deny this too, that you gave me a golden cup as a gift today, which you were gifted with when you were there?
Oh, I didn't give or say it, but I had it in my mind that I give this cup to you, and so I'm here. But who told you this?
I heard about the cup from you, and from your hand I took it.
Be patient. Please be patient. Socia, I'm quite surprised that she knows a golden cup was given to me there, unless you met her a while back and you related everything.
Paul, I didn't see or say anything except with you.
What a person she must be.
Do you want the cup?
Oh, I do.
Okay. You there, Thessalia, bring the cup outside the house that my husband brought today.
Socia, come over here. Truly, if she has the cup, I'll be more astounded than by other things.
Do you believe that? That it's sealed with your seal inside this case?
Seal secure?
Check it yourself.
Good. It's as I sealed it.
Please, why don't you demand that she be purified? She's muy loca.
This, by Pollux, must be done. She, by Pollux, is filled up with poltergeists.
What need for words? Look, your cup.
Give it to me.
Come look here. Right now at this, you who doubt what did take place, I shall prove to you right here in plain sight that it's the cup you gave to me.
Highest Jupiter, what is this? It is the cup for sure. I'm dying, Sosha.
Oh, this woman either is the greatest sorceress by far, or else the cup. The cup should be in here.
Come then, open up the case.
Why then should I open it? It's sealed and all is well. You have twinned Amphitruo, and I, a second Socia. If the cup's now twinned a cup, we've all been doubled up.
I must check and open it.
Well, see then, if the seal is yours, so you don't place blame on me later on.
Then open it, for indeed she plans to make us go crazy with her words.
Where is this from, if not from you? A gift which you presented me.
This I must investigate.
Jupiter. By Jupiter.
What's wrong?
There is no cup inside this case.
What's this I hear?
It's the truth.
Unless it's here, a death by cross for you is near.
Here it does appear.
Who gave it to you?
The one who asks.
You were tricking me since you ran secretly here from the ship on another street and you removed the cup from here, gave it to her, after which, in secret, sealed it back again.
Aye. And now you two are helping her insanity. Did we come here yesterday?
Yes. And when you came, right then you greeted me as I did you, and I gave to you a kiss.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of this. About this kiss. Carry on.
You did bathe.
And after that?
You sat to eat.
Oh, very good. Now, inquire.
You continue to describe.
Dinner was laid out. You dined with me and I reclined with you.
Were we on the same recliner?
The very same.
I hate this feast.
Let her give the evidence. But then, after we dined,
You were saying you were tired. The table went and we went to bed.
and where did you sleep?
In the same bed with you in our room.
Oh my God, you have killed me.
What's wrong?
She has sentenced me to die.
What, my love?
Don't speak to me.
What is wrong?
Bitch, I am dead. While I was away, this stain was added to her modesty.
Please, by Castor, husband mind, why do I hear this from you?
I'm your husband. Faithless woman, don't call me by that faithless name.
What did I do that deserves that I be called with such a name?
You yourself said what you did, and you ask me what you did wrong.
What did I do wrong to you when I was with the one I wed?
You have been with me? Oh, what is bolder than a shameless wife? If you lack in modesty, at least you might take out a loan.
You accuse me of this deed, which does not become our clan. If you try to catch me in some shameless action, you cannot.
Oh, immortal gods. Do you at least know me, Socia?
Quite well.
Did I die last night at the port of Christensen?
There are also witnesses who will attest to what I say.
I don't know what I can say on this affair, unless there is some alternate Amphitruo who, though you're absent, yet perhaps tends your tasks, and though you're absent, carries out your duty too. Since the pseudo-socia seems to be so very strange, surely stranger still is this alternate Amphitruo.
Some thaumaturgist or other makes this woman seem a fool.
I swear by the great king's kingdom and by the holy goddess Mother Juno, whom I do respect and rightly fear especially, save for you alone, no mortals touched my body with his body that would make me be immodest.
I would wish these words were true.
I speak truth, but it's for nothing since you do not wish to trust.
You're a woman. You swear boldly.
She who's done no wrong should be bold. She should speak for herself forcefully and daringly.
Enough.
As fits a modest woman.
You are good in word.
What I brought into this marriage isn't what was called a dowry. Rather, it's my modesty, shame, my well-controlled desires, fear of gods, and love of parents, harmony with relatives, deference to you, and giving to the worthy, help the good.
He speaks the truth by Pollux. Is she not completely perfect?
I am so completely smitten that I don't know who I am.
You're Amphitruo completely. See that you don't lose yourself. People now appear to change so often since they've come back home.
Woman, I won't let this matter stand without investigation.
Let's do it. I'll be happy.
What is that? Just answer me. What if I should bring your Monocrates here from our ship? He who made a single journey on a single ship with me? If he said things aren't as you say, what result would you say is fair? Would you not say I had reason to divorce you right away?
If I did some wrong, you would.
Oh, it's agreed. You, Socia, bring them in, and I'll bring with me Nocrates back from the ship.
Now that there is no one with us, tell me truly, earnestly, is another Socia in there who is just like me?
Leave me be, slave who deserves your master.
I go as you wish.
Truly, it's a strange event by Castor that my husband thinks it's right to charge me in this way, wrongly, of so bad an action. I'll soon learn what it might be from my kinsman Nocrates.
Amphitruo is my name, and Socia, my slave, becomes Mercurius at times. I live up there on the highest floor, and when it suits, I'm Jupiter as well. When I do make my entrance on the spot, Amphitruo I am, and change my clothes, I come here now for your dear sake, so that I don't conclude this comedy too soon. I've also come to bring Alcmena some help who, free from shame, Amphitruo indicts. The fault is mine, which I contrived, if innocent Alcmena be blamed. So, as I started, I'll pretend to be Amphitruo, and I will throw this house today into the greatest puzzlement. Then, after that, I'll see all made clear. And I will help Alcmena in time. I'll see that she delivers without pain. Her husband's child and mine, the both at once. I told Mercurius to follow straight in case I had a job. I'll speak to her.
I can't remain inside, accused by him of cheating, shameful sex, adultery. He cries aloud that what's not done was done, says what's not happened I'm guilty of, and trusts I'll think this all beside the point. I've done no wrong. By Pollux, I will not bear the shame of false indictment. Either I will leave him or he'll apologize and say I'm blameless of what he's alleged.
I have to do what she demands if I'm to lure her back to me as her true love. Since what I did has hurt Amphitruo, and my romance has caused such strife for him. He's blameless, and though I am blameless too, his rage at her and curses fall on me.
But look, I see the one who just accused poor me of shameful sex.
Let's speak, my wife. Hey, why do you pull back?
It's my innate nature. I always hate to look on foes.
Oh, come, we're foes.
It's so. I speak the truth, unless you claim even this is false.
You're very angry.
Oh, can't you watch your hands? For certain, if you're sane and had some sense, you would not speak in jest or earnestly with someone who you called and misjudged unchaste, unless you're dumber than the dumbest dolt.
My words don't make it so, and I believe you, so I have returned to make amends. For never was my heart so sick as when I heard that you were angriest at me. You said this, why? You asked, I will explain. It's not because I thought you were unchaste. I tested if your heart was really true, and what you would do and how if you're accused. I said these things before to you in jest. It was a joke. Just go ask Sosha.
Why don't you bring my kinsman Nocrates? Did you not say before you'd bring him here to be a witness?
I made a jest. It isn't fair that you treat it as real.
Everything I know's destroyed my heart.
By your right hand, Alchemina, I beg you, please give way to me. Be calm. Forgive.
My virtues made these words of no account. Now, since I've kept away from unchaste deeds, I want to stay away from unchaste words. Farewell. You'll keep what's yours, I'll take what's mine. Let servants come.
Are you insane?
If not, I'll go alone with just my chastity.
Hold on. I'll swear an oath on terms you state that I believe my wife is truly chaste. And if I lie, I ask you, highest Jove, be always angry with Amphitruo.
Let him wish him well.
I'm sure he will. I swore a trusty oath to answer you. So now, are you not mad?
I'm not.
Well, good. In human life, does much turn out just so. They seek for pleasure, and then they seek for pain. Angers erupt, and then comes calm again. And if some angers just like this arise between them, and if apologies ensue, then things are twice as friendly as they were before.
To start, it shouldn't have been said at all. But if you show remorse, it can be borne.
Then order clean equipment be prepared, so all the vows I made while on campaign, if I came home again, I'll now fulfill.
I shall do that.
And call out Sosha, so he can fetch our helmsman Blepharo, for he's with us on the ship, and we'll have lunch. He will be likely made a lunchless fool when I by the throat I drag Amphitruo from here.
I wonder what he wordless says. The door reveals that Sosia appears.
So at this moment, the Latin text is a little fragmentary. And so in the translation, we have that Toph has put together, we have Jupiter going out as Amphitruo, finding Sosia, getting everything ready to confirm what just happened. And we have Mercury then at Sosia, as Sosia too, who's trying to stop Amphitruo from entering the building, hurling stuff at him from the roof. And we're just about to get to the last scene where a new character, the final boss of sorts, comes out to keep Amphitruo from messing up what Jupiter just fixed.
One thing's sure, I'll burst inside the house. And when I spot someone, whether it's a slave or slave girl or my wife or else her lover or my dad or my granddad that I see, I'll murder them inside. Neither Jove nor all the gods will stop this, even if they want to. I shall do this as I planned. I'll go inside right away.
To hope and help to keep my life lie buried in my chest. There's no assurance in my heart since I have let it go, for everything now seems to chase me, earth and sea and sky. Oh, I'm overwhelmed, about to die. Wretched me, I don't know what to do. Such strange things are done inside. Woe for wretched me. My spirit's down. I need a drink. I'm ruined and I'm wrecked. My head's in pain. Don't hear a thing. My eyes don't look ahead. No sadder woman does exist, nor could one seem to be. But what's this? Who's this old man lying flat before our house? Has he been hit by Jupiter? I think it's yes, by Paul, for he's, by Jove, been dead and buried. I'll go and see who he might be. My boss, Amphitruo. Amphitruo!
I'm dead.
Get up!
I'm buried.
Take my hand.
Who holds me?
Your slave, Bromia.
I'm thunderstruck. By Jove, I feel like I've just come from hell. But why'd you come outside the house?
We women were afraid, struck with such a common dread inside the house where you do live. I saw such marvels. Whoa! Amphitruo, now my mind's gone as well.
Come on, explain. Do you know me as Amphitruo, your boss?
Yes,
Check.
I do.
Of all my house alone hold, she alone still has a healthy mind.
No, we all are now fully safe.
My wife makes me insane due to her sordid deeds.
But still, I'll make you change that tune. Beautiful and chaste, Amphitruo, is how you'll know your wife to be. Signs of how this is, I'll say in outline with shortened speech. First of all, Alcmena has given birth to double sons.
You say twins?
It's twins.
Oh, God's protect.
Let me say some more. So you'll know that all the gods think kindly of your wife and you. Your wife, once she began her labour earlier today, once the pains began, as women do when birthing starts, she called on immortal gods, that they would bring her help. Hands were clean, her head was bare. There and then it thundered loud, with the greatest noise. At first we thought your house would fall on us. All the house was shining forth like it was made of solid gold.
Answer this for me right now. Please. You've joked sufficiently. What came next?
While this took place, in all this time, not one of us heard your wife let out a groan or start to weep in any way. Thus, I swear, she did give birth, free from pain.
Oh, for this I am glad, heedless of her deeds to me.
Stop that. Hear these things I say. After she gave birth, she ordered us to wash the boys. We did. But the boy which I was washing, he was just so big and strong, no one there was able to wrap him in his swaddling clothes.
Describe things far too strange. If this is true, I do not doubt some divinity has brought assistance to my darling wife.
I will see you call it stranger. After he was in the cradle, crested snakes flew down from high through the skylight in a pair. They were huge, and right away, both lifted up their heads.
Oh no.
Do not fret. With their eyes, the serpents glared around, and all. Once they saw the boys, they quickly made their way towards the cribs. Backing up, I dragged the cribs, drew them back, frightened for the boys and fearing for myself. All the fiercer did the serpents chase, and once the serpent saw the twin who I'd described before, he jumped quickly from his crib. He attacked them straight away. Straight away he grasped them both, each of them, in each his hands.
What you say is strange indeed. You tell him tasks that petrify. Terror takes these limbs of mine terribly at what you say. What came after? Say what followed.
Child strangled both the snakes. Well, this happened with a voice so clear he spoke unto your wife.
Who did?
Highest Jupiter, ruler of both gods and men. He said he had secret sex with Alcmena, unaware, in your bed, and that the boy was his, who conquered both the snakes. And he said the other boy was yours.
Oh, it does not make me sad if I get half the good dividing it with you. Go inside and see that clean containers are set out for me, so I'll sacrifice for peace to highest Jove with many gifts. What is this? How loud it thundered. Gods, I beg your trust in me. Be glad. I'm here to help, Amphitruo. Both you and yours, fear not. I'm Jupiter. So yes, I took Alcmena on loan in bed and made her pregnant with my son. You also made her pregnant when you left to fight. Together, she gave birth to both. And of the two, the one born of my seed will bring immortal glory with his deeds. Restore the former favor to your wife, Alcmena. No faults deserved by her. I did it all by force. I'm heading up. I'll do as I bid you ask, and ask you keep the promises you made. Now, spectators, give hand for the sight of highest Jove.
So that play takes a wild twist at the end. A couple things. So first, I would love if you just sort of can recap the plot in the last sort of like scene or so, because I got a little lost. But also that is an amazing moment that is almost ekphrastic there, where he's describing Heracles and the snakes, and one of those most famous images from antiquity. It just doesn't seem to go with what's going on with the rest of the play. So how do you sort of knit together the sequencing at the end, or am I missing the point completely?
No, I think it does get a little wild and increasingly wild towards the end. Throughout the play, Plautus is grounding it in tragedy and in Euripidean tragedy. It shows us that he knows Greek literature. He's fully bilingual or trilingual, since apparently his first language was Oscan. But he knows what he's doing with the Greek stuff. But Bromia comes on, and after a song, gets to deliver a tragic messenger speech, and seeing that speech as, realizing in comedy the technique that would also be found in tragedies too, of being able to describe supernatural events, but the snakes flying around, and these two live births. We see Bromia involved in the action, sort of proud of what she has done to rescue one of the children. It's really quite exceptional the way that we get this characterization. But Amphitruo has been struck by lightning. He's unconscious, and when he comes to, he's reluctant, he's defeated, he knows that he's falsely accused his wife, and Bromia, and then with Jupiter's help, Jupiter too, lead him to a point where he's back to the cocky guy he was at the beginning of the play. I don't think really he learns anything in this. I don't think he's going to be a particularly good dad, but we do have Hercules alive and happy, and Alcmena has her child.
And Hercules is somebody else who doesn't turn out to be too good of a dad, so it may be both.
These things run through
right?
across generations, Joel. You should know that.
Again, and there's that madcap sort of ending in the play that's also bringing in together these tragic elements, to my mind, demands an audience that's familiar with all these motifs. And I feel like they'd be falling over laughing at how absurd this is, right?
Certainly, Jupiter coming in at the end, whether they're standing on the roof or whether they're swung in on the crane. If there is a crane, there isn't in the Roman theater, but there could be in a Greek theater. If this was being performed in South Italy, we could have this nice Euripidean ending of God swinging in, making everything right. He does it in like 15 lines. It's a very
Right.
short God machine. And then Amphitruo can shrug and say, well, I guess everything's good now. We don't actually see Alcmena again. We don't hear her response to having been falsely accused and threatened with divorce. And I'm going to say it does get pretty dark for her. But I think that the play, once it recognizes the unfairness of that situation, doesn't come back and feel a need to rehabilitate her.
And it's rare that Zeus himself appears on stage, right? So this may add
from what we
even
can
more
tell,
humor.
Yeah. But
So-
that
so
vase
now-
shows that there were parallels for
Yeah.
a comic Jupiter or a Zeus.
And that's always sort of the danger of us like making generalizations based on what randomly survived from antiquity.
Exactly.
So I want to bring in the actors now to talk to them. Let's start with René. René, every time we have you on, I talk about how much you want to move. And I feel like this is a play that was built for you, just rolling all over the stage, being right as that's distraught, confused, Amphitruo. But I mean, I think you do a really good job of bringing similarity, but not sameness to Amphitruo and Jupiter's Amphitruo in this. Did you think about how to differentiate the characters, or did you just roll with the lines?
I did. I just thought, obviously it's just on Zoom. There's only so much you can do. And so I did think that Jupiter is never pushed off balance, except for when Alcmena slaps him. And Amphitruo is always off balance. And so that is how I sort of looked at the two dudes for them.
Well, and I think you did a really good job in both scenes playing off of Alcmena, of being played by Jasmine Bracey, who had to leave, right? She brings sort of both sweetness, but also a little bit of fire there too, right? And that's something so tough when you're translating it. What I'm struck by with this translation is how contemporary it is. And of course, they're your words, but this exchange between the couple, or the couple and the couple, it's really something special. Like reminds me of like It's All in the Family, or something from the Marvelous Miss Maisel that I was just watching. Is that like, do you feel that type of comic modernity there, or?
I think if it doesn't speak to a contemporary audience, it's not worth doing a translation and trying to make them words that we want to say. Plautus is in this weird place because it's very early Latin. It's 150 years beforehand. So a lot of professional classicists, just look at Roman comedy for linguistic idiosyncrasies and things like that. So we have highly patterned verse, regularly switching meters back and forth, but at the same time, we're also meant to believe that this is everyday speech. And so trying to capture both of those things at the same time, I think is part of the challenge of an effective translation. I've got an awful lot of monosyllables, and I'm trying to cut down extra syllables anywhere I can in order to make it fit still line for line. But I want it to sound natural, and there's lines that are better than others, but certainly I love the that the way the tension mounts between Amphitruo and Alcmena when she knows that she's just had this great night, and he's accusing her of infidelity and threatening divorce for something that she thinks she's done right. And that I'll say when I'm doing it, it's after my kids in bed, and I'm just reading lines aloud to myself, first in Latin, and then getting a rhythm for that, and then trying to put it into something that matches the English.
And on the other side of it, of this play's theme, or part of his plot, is this horror of completely losing your memory or not know what's going on or not being able to trust yourself, right? It's played to such comic effect here, but I think René, again with your Amphitruo, you channeled well that sort of like fright, like, wait, this can't be possible. It is possible. I don't know what's going on. Am I losing my mind? And so I love the moment with the Bromia scene when you're out and you're like, is everybody still crazy? It's like, no, we're all okay, right? And so there's a way like you could end the play without Zeus, and it'd just be like this weird thing that happened yesterday that we're all going to pretend didn't happen, right? But there's still sort of be a menace there, and then Zeus comes in. You're like, I guess we'll just move on. And so moving on, Paul. So you got look. I know you love messenger speeches. You love to do your thing, and like I was transfixed from the beginning with you as Mercurius and Socia. Have you ever performed this play before, or is this the first time you started to mess around with it?
No, this is the very first for me, and the very first Roman comedy, full stop. So it's been a real pleasure to get to work with Toph's translation. And as you've mentioned, and this has come up, sort of a couple of times already, it's just so performable. It's great. And you kind of, and actually a lot of the times when you get first translations, sometimes doesn't sort of, I don't know, it's sort of odd. It looks like verse on the page, but doesn't necessarily feel like verse in your mouth. And that's not what this is like. Actually, it was really helpful as a way to kind of like navigate your way through some kind of quite long, complicated speeches. There were quite a few very, very long lines, and actually the verse kind of really helped you with that. So that was great. It was really lovely.
So if you were to stage this play for real, Paul, like on an actual stage, would you want to be the character Mercurius Socia?
Well, I think in real life it would be tricky being both. But look, I'm always up for a challenge with anything. But I mean they're both great characters to play. That's kind of one thing to kind of really kind of say. And they've got that lovely role as well in terms of being sort of occasional observers, and then suddenly all focus being on them, and that sometimes being a wonderful thing because they might enjoy it for a moment, but other times also being not right at the top of their particular profession at that moment, and therefore it's a bit challenging suddenly having a focus on. So it's that they're really both really interesting parts to play, and that's one of the nice things about this setting as well, is that actually enabled you to play both these roles. And in fact, I should say as well that Jasmine had to leave. She had to go off and teach, and Jasmine was going to play Bromia, so we were all going to play two roles, but then I was an emergency Bromia at the end.
Hence the hat.
Yeah, I've got a glass box. I just, in a case of emergency, then just right this.
So before we turn to announcements and what's coming next, Paul, Toph, I just didn't want to say, so I remember, so as a Hellenist, I remember reading this Latin in grad school, but actually finding it to be really smooth and easy to read. Like for me, it always rolled like through my mind in a way that other Latin didn't. Is just this me remembering wrongly, or do you feel like this is a feature of sort of the popular nature of Plavus?
I think once you've read a couple hundred lines of it, you get into a rhythm, and it starts to flow a lot quicker. The lines are quite often end stopped, or every second one is end stopped. Once you start to recognize the idiomatic forms and the unusual forms, it comes a lot quicker. I think the first 150 lines you might have blocked. The trauma associated with hammering through the initial prologue or whatever it is, but I think once you get into the dialogue, it comes a lot quicker, and it is fun, and seeing the way characters pick up on each other. One thing that I find I've been trying to think about recently is, every now and again you get a line that's split between 5 or 6 speeches, and just the sort of tightly patterned alternation between 2 or 3 speakers over one verse line, each taking 2 or 3 syllables. Sometimes it's elided. There's some magical poetry here that
Yeah.
really sort of demands to be spoken aloud.
And I think the part of the feature you don't get unless it's read aloud is that it will move fast like that and then slow down or stop almost as if it's a gag, as if it's a gag and you're looking at the audience. And so again, that's really what I appreciate about this translation. And thank you for sharing with us, as I feel like it's got that life to it, but also the rhythm where you'll stop and you can feel, the laugh track waiting to happen.
Well,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah. So Paul, before we close up shop for the day, what do we have left this for the next few months, and when can everybody expect to see us again?
Well, don't worry, everyone. You don't have to wait too long. But next up is, and we don't have an exact date for this because we're not quite sure when we're going to be able to show it. But some students from Champaign-Urbana in Illinois, including students at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and others are going to be reading scenes from Luis Alfaro's Electricidad, and where I was working with them when I was over in the States a couple of weeks ago. And they're going to be presenting that on April the 29th. We're not quite sure if we're going to be able to show that live, but we're going to certainly, if we can't show it live, then get it uploaded so that everyone can have a look at that, which would be wonderful. And then we are next back in this format on May the 17th. We're going to be looking at Seneca's Medea with Angela Hurley joining us as a special guest, and we're also going to have an entire student cast as part of that, and that's one of the things that we're excited about trying out on the series, is ways that we can really kind of reach out to students and get them involved directly in what's going on. Also in that episode, we'll announce the winners from the Playing Bacchae competition from Greece and the Playing Dionysus competition from the US as well. And then we will conclude this particular season of Reading Greek Tragedy Online with our long-trailed and long-tailed battle between the frogs and the mice with puppets.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Puppets, mice, frogs, Homeric stuff. It's everything you need to get ready for the summer. So I want to thank everyone for being with us today. Our actors, René Thornton Jr., Jasmine Bracey, Paul Omani, Danielle Andrews, and Olivia Henderson, who help us out behind the scenes. Everybody at the Center for Lennox Studies, out of Chaos Theater, the Cosmos Society, who makes this happen. And of course, Paul, Toph, thank you for bringing this play to life today. So maybe April 29th. And then May 17th, we'll see you again. Until then, if you go home and your spouse says you were already there, maybe believe what they were saying. Take care and be safe.